Hi friends, so today we are just continuing the part related to the testings of the material. So in the previous lectures we have just completed about the testing of that is two testings, that is the tensile test and compressive test. So we have just seen about the stress strain diagram for the tensile test. So various stress strain diagrams are there. Now there are the different kind of the testings are we are conducting just to analyze the different properties of the material. Now the next test, it is called as a bending test or flexural test. So basically it is known as a flexural test, but sometimes most of the testings is carried out by giving the name as a flexural test, but also it is called as a bending test. So basically in engineering mechanics, the flexural or bending characteristic, the behavior of the slender structure element subject to an external load applied perpendicularly to the longitudinal axis of the element. So basically the bending test is one of the simplest mechanical tests, and it is used to evaluating the properties of the metals. So different kind of that properties has been analyzed by conducting the bending test. A bending test results give some idea about the ductility of metal. So basically related to the ductility of the metal. So in the last lectures that we have seen what is the meaning of ductility, and we have seen the stress strain diagram for the ductility. Now the ductility, it is in the sense of as long as we can be able to elongate the particular material. Now this test can be carried out on the same machine on which the tension test is carried out, that is the universal testing machine. So just to conduct this particular bending test, we can be able to use the UTM, that is the universal testing machine, which we have seen in the tensile test. But here, just to carry out this particular test, we need some sort of that different attachments. Basically that machine, it is same, but it is we are conducting this particular test on by using some sort of that different attachments. So which kind of that material we are supposed to conduct this particular flexural test? So that is these are the few materials. So basically the flexural test or bending test is carried out on the polymers or wood and composites and brittle materials. So nowadays the composites what we have used, so on that particular composite material the bending test is carried out. Then the brittle material, for that purpose also we can be able to carry out the flexural test. So these are the basic types of the flexural test. So here you just try to understand how this particular test is carried out. So these are the two supports. So first type, it is the 3-point flexural test, and second is the 4-point flexural test. So why it is called as a 3-point and why it is called as a 4-point, that we will see over here. So these are the two supporting pins where we are keeping this particular specimen. So these two supporting pins are just supporting this particular specimen, or we are rested this specimen on this two supports, and this is the point where we are applying the load. So this is the loading pin element. So it will be a point load. So here we can be able to see 3 points are generated. When we are applying the load at the center, these are the two opposite reactions at the supporting ends has been generated. So while solving the problems in engineering mechanics, you have seen this or you have just done this particular task. That is, we are just considering these reactions or that reactive forces, because when we are applying the force, the equal and opposite reactions are generated. So here those two reactions are generated at this particular supporting pins. So here we can be able to see the reactive forces. So at the center we are applying the force, and two reactive forces at the supporting ends are generated, and that's why it is called as a 3-point flexural test. Now here this is called as a 4-point flexural test. So why it is called as a 4-point flexural test? Here we are applying the forces at this particular 2 points, and these are the two supportive elements. So here the forces are applied at this particular points, and these are the loading pins which is at a distance A. Here it is exactly at the center, and that's why it is called as a 4-point flexural test, because 4 points are generated. This is the first, second, third, and this is the fourth. So 1, 2, then 3, and this will be the fourth. That's why it is called as a 4-point flexural test. So normally the 3-point flexural tests are carried out to conduct or just to analyze some sort of that different properties. Now why to perform the flexural test? So this is the flexural test produce the tensile stress, or what is the what we can say that how that flexural test has been carried out. So basically the flexural test produces the tensile stress in the convex side. So this will be the convex side, and at this particular side it will be this particular component is under the tension. But here when we observed about this concave shape or concave side, here the basically the length of that particular specimen is being reduced or decreased, and that's why this particular specimen is under the compression at this particular location. So same kind of that specimen, it is under the tension at one side and it is under the compression at second side, and that's why whatever may be the midpoint or midline of this particular specimen, that will be, we have to consider the shear stress for that particular line. So basically this has to be done by controlling the span and depth ratio, and the length of the outer span is divided by the height. So generally there is some sort of that standardization procedure how to set the S by D ratio, that is span to the depth, or we can say height, that length of the pan. Yes, it is the in the sense that length, and D in the sense depth. So basically S by D ratio should be a 16, it is acceptable. But for the few materials, so that S by D is equal to 16, this is set for the majority of the materials. But for the few materials, that S by D ratio, that is length to the depth or height, that ratio is vary from 32 to 64, and it will be keep the shear stress at the low enough. So this particular ratio is maintained to keep the shear stress at the lower side. So this will be a diagram for flexural test with the 3-point loading conditions. So this is the sample, these are the two resting points, and this is the point where we are applying the force, and that's why it is called as a 3-point flexural test. So basically the flexural test measures the force requirements to bend a beam under the 3-point loading conditions. The data is often used to select the material for the parts that will be support a load without a flexing, and flexural modulus is used as an indication of materials whether it is tipped or not. So here you just understand how 3-point bending test has been carried out. So in this particular test specimen, basically the test specimen is used either a rectangular or a flat cross-sectional area, and it is just placed on a 2 supporting spines. So basically what specimen we are using, so it will be a round, it will be a flat, or it will be a rectangular shape. So there are few specimen which are round also, but generally while manufacturing the specimen, by considering that S to D ratio, normally it will be a 16 for majority of the materials, and it will be, when we want to keep the shear stress at a lower side, we are maintaining that ratio from 32 to 64, that S by D ratio, that is the length to the depth ratio. So normally this particular specimen is made up with the rectangular or some sort of that flat shape, and this is resting on this particular 2 pins, and then the loading force is applied exactly at the midway. So this is very important where to apply the loading force, and that's why that remark should be there on that particular specimen. So in the latter part of this particular lecture, we will see the video how the exactly the 3-point bending test is carried out on the material. So basically the supporting and loading pins are mounted on a way allowing their free rotation about the axis parallel to, first is pin axis and the axis parallel to the specimen axis. Now, what are the advantages or which kind of the properties we are getting through by conducting the flexural test? So it provides the value for the modulus of elasticity in a bending, in a flexural stress, in a flexural strain, and the flexural stress strain response of the material. So what is the advantage of this particular test? That is it is very easy of the specimen preparation and the testing. So while conducting the bending test, the specimen preparation and the testing of the specimen, it is very easy. Normally only the thing is that critical thing that we have to adjust that particular specimen exactly at the point locations, and we have to find out the center of that particular specimen, and exactly on that particular point we should apply the load. That is the only some sort of skills are required, but remaining things, that is for the specimen preparation, that S by D ratio it is we are having for majority of the materials, that is 16. So while preparing the specimen we have to keep that ratio, and then for few materials where we need the lower shear stress, that S by D ratio should be 32 to 64. So basically we are trying to maintain those, and that's why that specimen preparation is very simple. Then the disadvantage of this particular that method or the testing is it results of the testing methods are sensitive to the specimen and loading geometry and the strain rate. So basically whatever may be the testing we are carried out, so it is very sensitive because sometimes we are unable to set the center of that particular specimen, and which might be give some sort of that deflection in the readings or deviations in the readings. So basically the flexural strength or modulus of rupture that has to be identified, the stress required to fracture a specimen in a bend test, and the flexural modulus we are getting, that is the modulus of elasticity calculated from the result of the bend test giving the slope of the stress strain deflection curve. Now this is the basically how the bending moment has been calculated. So here through this we can be able to understand to calculate the bending moment. How we are calculating the bending moment? This is we have calculated already in the engineering mechanics. So P by 2 into the distance. So the bending moment is maximum at the center. So P by 2 into this particular distance. So up to the center the distance is S by 2. So P by 2 into S by 2 is equal to PS by 4. So this will be the moment of inertia. Basically for the rectangular components, the moment of inertia is breadth into height cube divided by 12. This is for the rectangular component, and the sigma max is calculated by the m into y. Y is the sense height by 2, h by 2, and divided by I. So when we are putting all those values, so here m value we are having ps by 4, y value that is h by 2 in divided by I, that is bh cube by 12. So we are getting the sigma max is 3ps divided by 2bh square. So this will be the maximum bending stress, and the deflection is calculated by this particular formula. So this is just a mathematical formulation in the simple manner. So for the rectangular cross section, that how we are going to calculate the flexural test stress, the flexural strain, and the flexural modulus. These are the formulation for that particular thing. So what is the meaning of sigma f? That is given over here, stress in outer fiber at the midpoint. Mu f, that is the strain in the outer surface. Ef, that is here, that Ef term is there. This will be a flexural modulus of elasticity. And the remaining terms, what is the P? That is the load. L is the supporting length of the supporting span. D is the width of the test beam. D is the depth of the tested beam, and D is the maximum deflection. And when we are using the small m, that will be the gradient. So basically these are the three types of the bending test, and first one is the closed bend test, second one is the angle bend test. So this is the diagram for closed bend test where exactly the bending has been carried out, how it is shown. So in this particular test, a part of specimen is bent over a remaining part by exactly 180 degree and flattened. So here we can be able to observe. So this whatever the bending is carried out, so the one part of that particular bending, it has been just over the second part. So it will be exactly 180 degree bending has been carried out. And if the specimen does not show any cracks on the outer surface of the blend region, the bend test results are satisfactory and acceptable. So if there is no any crack on this particular outer surface, it is the acceptable bend test. The second is the angle bend test. So here we can be able to see that angle. So basically in this particular test, a former with the standard nose angle and the radius is used. So here, whatever the radius it is there, so it has been a standard angle, that is theta degree, and the specimen is bent over the former to a definite angle or 180 degree. So might be it will be a 180 degree or some sort of that particular angle has been given. And third is the reverse bend test. So here we can be able to see this reverse bend test, or it is also called as a 180 degree bend test. So here we can be able to see that exactly this particular component is bent by the 180 degree. So basically in this test, a specimen is bent around a former using a standard nose angle of 180 degree. Then the specimen is made flat and tested repeated on the opposite side of the specimen. So in this way, the testing has been carried out for the bend test. Now you are just knowing about why the bending test and all those has been carried out. Here we will just try to show you how the bending test has been carried out. So this first test is for the circular bar, and then how that bending test has been carried out for the Pratt components, that we will see. So these are the round specimens. On this particular round specimen, the bending test we are going to conduct, and basically we are knowing this has been a steel bar. So on this particular steel bar, we are going to conduct the bend test. So these are the steel bars where it is majority of the steel bars we have seen it is used in the constructions of the buildings or constructions of any kind of that. So here we can be able to see some sort of that rusting is there. Now how this is the attachment. So this is the UTM. So on that particular UTM, this is the attachment where we are observing over this. So this is the attachment of the bending test. These are the two supporting spans. So this is the 3-point bend test. So these are the two supporting spans, and we are applying the force at the center. So this is the attachment. So this will be called as a 3-point bend test. Now here we can be able to observe at the bottom side that bending has been started. So here we are just going to observe how that cracks has been developed at the latter part. So this two ends are the fixed here, that nuts has been used at the bottom to fix this particular support. So when any kind of that force is applied, this support should not be deviated from this particular surface. So these supports are the very fixed support. So after conducting the first test on the first bar, then the second bar has been applied. Now it has been increased the forces. So we can be able to see after the increment of the forces, this kind of that bending shape we are observing. So it is very important to set this particular bar exactly at the locations. So we have to apply this particular force on the center of this particular component. So which is very crucial stage, or we can say it is very critical stage of this particular specimens. So similarly for a bar, here it has been just applied, and we in the previous two bars are the some sort of a trusted bar. So basically this might be, we can be able to go with some sort of a different material which is having a non-corrosive properties and how that particular test has been carried out. So the test procedure is the very similar to carry out the bending test. Here the interesting phenomena is just to observe the bendings. So here on this particular display panel we are getting how much is the deflection, then how much is the particular load we are applied over there. Now in the next portion here we are just observing how the exactly the bending has been carried out on this particular different materials. So there is no any crack has been generated, only the component is bent. So there is no any external cracks we are observing on that particular material. So that particular material is somewhat accepted for the bending test. Here again we cannot be able to say that crack, but some sort of that this additional region, this particular component is weaker on this particular section. So here some sort of that minor that cracks are developed on this particular specimen. So it is not that exactly we can be able to say that the major crack, but the minor cracks are trying to develop on that particular component. So how on the flat component, how that particular test has been carried out, here we can be able to see. So this is the rectangular or component, or we can say the flat component. Now the attachment is again somewhat different. In the previous case, that attachment are having very heavier, we can be able to see. This is the lower bending test machine, that is the capacity is low, but almost as good as that same kind of the structure is there. Here the markings has been carried out to just understand the center of that particular component. And here that whatever the welding they have conducted the welding, and then just they are trying to analyze the how the welding exactly fails. So these are the different components which are having the different kind of that failure patterns. So on the first component we have seen the very big crack. On the second component the minor crack it has been developed. Here also some minor crack has been developed, but here in this particular component there is no any kind of that crack. So this is basically after conducting the test how the graphs has been plotted. So this is the flexural load against the flexural extension. So by conducting those tests we are getting the graph, that is the flexural load, how much Newton it is there, and this is the flexural extension. So through this we can be able to say something about its remaining properties. So these are the some sort of that readings. So this is the test for the different material. So I hope you have now understood about the exactly how the bending test is carried out. In the next lecture we will just go with the torsional test. So thank you very much for the patience listening.